Hi, I'm going to talk about mental illness because one, it's important to talk about it, and two, it's important to know what your friends and the people that you love are going through in order to understand them and help them. Welcome! Okay, I personally have two mental illnesses. Yes, two. I was blessed. Those two are ADHD and anxiety. And they're both very common, so it's good to know what they're like, right? I'm gonna start with talking about ADHD because it's very simple. Basically, if you have ADHD, for me, I can't focus on anything, any one thing at once. So to give you an example, I can watch a whole movie, sit there for the whole 2 hours, and by the end of it, not have any idea what has happened. And this is indeed what happened during Atomic Blonde. I watched the whole movie, and I have no idea what it's about. The Berlin Wall was involved. I couldn't watch it. I couldn't focus. And another example, when I'm watching YouTube videos, I have to be playing some kind of mindless game on my phone, like solitaire or something like that, so that my mind is focused on two things at once, and then it can understand the video that I'm watching, right? Because if I just sit there and watch the video, my mind is going to be somewhere else, and I just can't understand what's happening in the video. I'm just watching it mindlessly. So I use the game for that, and then I pay attention to the video instead. You know, these are all tricks that I've picked up over the years, but not a lot of people have them because a lot of people don't know that they have ADHD. And about that, the reason why a lot of people don't know that they have ADHD is because the symptoms of ADHD are pretty common in everyone. You know, everyone gets distracted, everyone procrastinates, everyone forgets things. So sometimes when kids tell their parents that they're having these issues, their parents automatically assume that they're exaggerating or they're just lazy, and that's not the case. It's actually very hard for us to control these things, like ridiculously hard for us to control these things, and medication helps a lot. And people are very scared of talking about medication as well, and I don't really get why, because for me, anxiety medication is probably the best thing that ever happened. But about ADHD, I don't take medication for ADHD because for some reason the pills depressed me. Like, I would just get ridiculously sad when I was on them, and I don't really know why. I think it's because since I was so focused, it was very easy to dwell on things. So I would pick a certain topic in my head, and then that's all I could think about for like a solid hour, which is insane to me because I've never been able to do that, right? But you overthink it, and then it gets like, you get really frustrated about it, and you get sad. I don't know. That's what it was like for me, but that's not what it's like for everyone. It helps a lot of people, all right? So now I'm going to talk about anxiety. I'm trying to make this quick, because if I don't make it quick, people leave. Y'all don't watch it. I'm calling you out. I can't see. Okay, so anxiety. Anxiety is a lot more complicated because the symptoms of anxiety aren't common in other people. They're not something that you can explain to other people. I was diagnosed with anxiety in 8th grade, and the reason that I went to the psychologist in the first place was because I was washing my hands so much every single day that my knuckles were opening up and bleeding because of how dry they were from the soap. And turns out that was a symptom of my anxiety. My anxiety causes OCD to me. It's not like that for everyone, but that's what it's like for me. And when my anxiety is like very high, I have a lot of trouble cleaning and like touching things. And yeah, that's become a little bit easier to control. But the anxiety itself comes with a lot of other things, like for example, anxiety attacks. So this is something that's very important for me to talk about because I didn't know what anxiety attacks were when I was getting them. And I thought I was going insane. Like, I thought there was something wrong in my head and that I was going crazy, and it was this inner battle that I was having, and I didn't know what was happening. And basically what an anxiety attack does is that, well, for me, it was like all these things that you worry about passingly during the day, they would all just come rushing in, and they would like berate you and in your brain, and you couldn't think of anything else but that. And I would start crying, and I would get really angry, and I want to take it out on something, but I didn't want to be destructive, so I would hit myself. And it was very violent and very scary, and I didn't know how to control it, and I didn't know how to make them go away. And it always happened late at night when everyone else was asleep, and my only solution was to go to sleep, but then the next night it would happen again. And when I moved to Boston, I got really calm and really happy instantly, and just the change of environment made me feel like myself again for the first time in over a year, which was a very strange feeling to realize that you hadn't felt like yourself in over a year. You hadn't been being yourself. It's crazy, and that's part of anxiety as well. And also, anxiety is very often linked with depression, and I was depressed for my entire senior year, and that's when I was getting the anxiety attacks, just for context. So I got here, and one night I got an anxiety attack, and I was on the phone with my friend, and for the first time, I was like, oh my God, this is anxiety. Like, what I'm feeling right now is the same feeling I get when I have to wash my hands. It's anxiety, and what I've been getting is anxiety attacks, and it all just kind of made sense suddenly. So I was on the phone with my friend, and I was like, hey, I need you to hang up right now. Don't say goodbye, nothing, just hang up. And she did. And for some reason, I needed that to happen. Like, my anxiety was telling me, you need to hang up right now. And then I just sat on the floor, and I thought about everything that was on my mind at the time, and I talked myself out of it for the first time. I had been getting these for over a year, and this was the first time ever that I managed to talk myself out of one, because I knew what it was. I finally understood that it was anxiety that was doing this to me. And so I called my mom, and I asked her for anxiety medication, because she's a psychiatrist, so she can prescribe it to me. And I had stopped using anxiety medication because I thought I wasn't doing anything. And then once I started again, I realized that it was doing a lot, and it's helped me a lot. Here it is, Zoloft. My buddy. Once I started taking Zoloft, I felt like this new kind of peace that I just never felt in my life. And I was able to be happy, like fully happy and stable for the first time in my life. And it makes me really worried that there's kids out there that don't even know that they're going through this, because they don't know that they have anxiety, and they don't know what anxiety attacks are, and they could be doing so much better if they knew what it was. If they knew, they could either talk themselves through it or go to a psychiatrist or a psychologist for medication or treatment. And it's really frustrating to me to think that it's this easy to be happy, and that I spent all those years being unhappy because I didn't know what was happening. Well, that's it. I hope that was informative and interesting in the least. Bye.